Hi guys, it's your new favorite YouTuber at it again. Me, aka Erica, aka Ray Lilith. And today we're on yet another foundation mission, but this time it's all about a brand new Eaze Drop blurring skin tint by Fenty Beauty. So I'm obviously going to be trying this skin tint on my skin today. We're gonna go through all of the claims and see if this foundation actually does what it says it's going to do for our skin. We're gonna cover things like packaging, how much of the foundation you're actually getting, price, where it's available, and all that good stuff. So let's just get into it. I was kindly gifted 3 shades by Fenty Beauty, and that is number 2, 3, and 4. I think my best match from what I've already tried is going to be number 2, but I'm going to swatch all 3 of these on my chest for you today, just in case you just wanted to see what the undertones are or how they compare. So this is number 2. Number 3 and number 4. So I'm gonna go in with number 2. So I'm going to prep my skin first, and for that I'm going to be using the Fenty Skin, oh my gosh, I always forget what this is called. It's the SPF 30 moisturizer. HYDRA VIZOR Invisible Moisturizer SPF 30. I love using this sunscreen as a primer in general under other foundations as well, just because it makes your skin so incredibly glowy. It's so nice under foundation. And also, please wear your SPF every single day. Also, I have quite few lovely spots on my face at the moment, especially this one that feels like somebody really just punched me in the cheek. That's how much it hurts. I've started this new retinoid treatment that is quite strong, and it's pretty normal for your skin to purge throughout the first few weeks that you're using retinoids. At least we'll properly get to try the coverage of the foundation, which is nice, I guess. I'm also gonna go in with Fenty Beauty's Pro Filter Instant Retouch Primer, and I want to apply this wherever my pores are a little bit bigger, because this is a nice blurring primer. So I'm going in mainly in my T-zone. So this foundation claims to be for all skin type. My skin type is dry as at the moment. Like, my skin on my nose literally peeled off the other day because I didn't put on moisturizer in the morning, which, if that doesn't tell you how dry my skin is, I don't know what will. It's light to medium coverage, and it's supposed to have this very nice, fresh, soft, natural skin-like finish. So as this is a skin tint, it falls into the category of like tinted moisturizers and skin tints, obviously. Most brands, when they're coming out with these kinds of products, come out with like very few shades, like 5 to maybe 10 at max. But Fenty came out with 25, which I think catering to all shade ranges is kind of their thing, which, because these types of products are usually very light coverage, one shade will cover multiple skin tones. That's why I feel like brands don't feel the need to come out with very many shades, but it is very Fenty of them to come out with 25 shades. So this is what the packaging looks like. It's a really nice, tiny, compact squeeze bottle. I like that. So plastic doesn't immediately feel very high-end. It's not very weighted either, but I just love the shape that they gave it, and I love the fact that it's a squeezy bottle. So I'm really happy with this packaging. It doesn't always have to be heavy glass and all of that. Like, sometimes I just think for what it is, a skin tint, like a blurring, for blurring skin tint, I just feel like this is a really nice, suitable packaging. Feel free to fight me on that in the comments. What do you think? Do you prefer like a heavy glass packaging when you're buying a high-end foundation, or do you not care, do you not mind what packaging it comes in, and do you only care about the product? Do you like this? I do. It's meant to deliver smooth and instantly blurred skin, so I'm excited to see how that's gonna perform on them pores. Today I actually attended a Fenty masterclass via Zoom all about this foundation, and what was mentioned that I thought would be really helpful is, if you don't know your shade, there is a shade finder on the Fenty's website. They can find your shade whether you know your shade in the previous foundations already, or even if you don't. So just to try it out, I matched myself on the website. I wear shade 120 in other Fenty's foundations. Based on that, it is recommending Eaze Drop Blurring Skin Tint in shade number 1. I only have number 2, that is the lightest one I have. I'm unfortunately not going to be able to compare number 1, number 2 and see which one would match better. Website is saying number 1, I have number 2 here, and that matches me pretty much perfectly. Okay, so let's finally apply this foundation. It says to shake it before applying, so As you can hear probably, it's obviously very watery. So that's... Okay, sir, take me on a date first. So this foundation seems very liquidy. That's why I feel like the squishy bottle is the best packaging for this. There's two recommended application techniques for this skin tint, and that is fingers or brush. So probably a sponge isn't very recommended because this is so liquidy and sponge would soak up a lot of the product. Just my guess. So I'm gonna do this side of my face with my fingers and this side of my face with brush. So I'm just going to dot a little bit of this around my cheek. And I sanitized my hands because I am not touching my face. So this is what it looks like blended in with fingers. Again, I don't use any filters on my skin, none of that stuff. This is literally what it looks like. So you can still see a little bit of that redness poking through. Let's try to layer it in the areas where I feel like I could use a little bit more coverage and see how it does. So I'm kind of using this tapping motion rather than... I just don't see how that would blend the foundation in. I don't know. What do we think? I definitely think that added a little bit more coverage. I'm actually really happy with how it layered on top of itself. It doesn't look any heavier, any cakier in the areas where I put 2 layers versus the area that only has 1 layer on. This foundation is also meant to be very long wear and humidity, transfer and sweat resistant. After it's been on for a few minutes, I feel like it's almost setting. Like I can feel the foundation on less than I could right after the application, which I really actually like. Okay, let's do the other side of our face with brush. It's not our face, it's my face. So we're gonna do the same kind of dotting business on this side also. I'm gonna take my favorite foundation brush by Juvia's Place. This is clean, even though it might look a little stained. There is no product on this. So I'm actually really surprised how quite well it covered that spot. I didn't expect this amount of coverage on that spot. I expected it to be fully visible afterwards, but I feel like it added quite like a nice amount of coverage for a skin tint. Is it just me? I feel like it, you know? I think I prefer the application with the brush. In general, I'm not the biggest fan of applying anything with my fingers, to be really honest. It looks very nice. Usually I can't even get to blend the foundation with my fingers properly. This looks really nice, but I just feel like it's so much quicker and so much easier to apply it with my brush. But that is obviously up to your individual preference. I'm gonna do the same thing I did on the other side, and I'm gonna add a few more dots around where I want a little bit more coverage. So this is what it looks like close up after the second layer, and I'm actually really happy with how well this covered this spot for being a skin tint, right? This is not meant to be like the fullest coverage, but I feel like for a skin tint it has a really decent coverage. I'm also gonna do my forehead now. So one thing that I just noticed after using it is the bottle is getting a bit messy. I think because this is so liquidy, for some reason there's more of the skin tint coming out and it's kind of messing out this cap. Yeah, I thought I'd let you know that in case that's something that bothers you. I would say definitely make sure you close this properly before you throw it in your bag, just because I feel like that could be a lot of mess considering how liquid this is. Okay, so that is the foundation applied. I'm going to apply the rest of my skin and I'll be back. I really like how the skin tint is looking. I think that Your Skin But Better describes this perfectly. My fingers are clean. If I touch in areas where I didn't put anything else, I can see a little bit of transfer, so I'm not 100% sure on the transfer proof claim. I think it applied really nice with both fingers and brush, although I do prefer the brush application for the reasons I mentioned earlier. I also must 100% agree on the light to medium coverage. That is spot on. I actually expected less coverage than it was, so I'm pleasantly surprised with that, as I like coverage. This foundation is £25 or $29.50 US, and you get 32 milliliters or 1.08 fluid ounce. which I would say is a standard size for foundation or skin tint. You can find the Eaze Drop at Boots or at Harvey Nichols in the UK or at Fenty.com or at Sephora in the US. So let's go over some pros and cons that I would like to highlight. I don't think I've personally seen a foundation or a skin tint that would have such a natural skin-like finish. It's very easily buildable. This skin tint layers on top of itself like nobody's business, okay? I obviously also have to highlight the shade range. 25 shades for such a light coverage is... And of course the fact that it's cruelty-free and vegan. You're not going to see me review anything that's not cruelty-free. I don't use or promote non-cruelty-free products. I don't use 100% vegan products, but I will always mention it. Obviously, that's the preference, that's the ideal. I think the biggest con I could find was just the fact that it isn't really transfer proof. It did transfer on my fingers. If I don't set it in these areas here where I set with powder, I don't think it's necessarily going to transfer, but if you don't set it with powder, I think it will transfer. Generally, I expect foundations to transfer if I don't set them with powder, but since this was mentioned in the claims, I thought I'd mention it. So my very final thoughts on this are, I absolutely love it. I can completely see myself wearing this and just spot concealing, or even for mixing with foundations that are a bit too heavy or the texture is a little bit thicker and I want to thin them out a little bit. I think this will be a great product to mix with. I also think this will be a great alternative for foundation in the summer or just skin tint for summer if this had SPF.
It would be 11 out of 10.
Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Are you going to pick this up? Have you already picked it up? What do you think? Do you like it? Do you hate it? If you'd like to follow me on my other social media, I am ray.lilith on Instagram and ray_lilith on TikTok and Twitter. So make sure to follow me there. Also, like this video and subscribe to my channel if you're interested in more content like this or if you're simply just feeling generous, and I'll see you next Sunday.